Hi everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Persona 4 Golden. And finally in this part it's the end of Adachi's dungeon and we take on the main man himself. The guy who's been confirmed as the murderer. We finally get to take him on, after all this fucking time.
Yet you threw Mayumi Yamano into the TV. Knowing full well that Miss
Yep.
Yamano died here, you did the same.
So of course now we have to have a little overview of everything that happened in the lead up to this boss fight.
You duped Namatame into taking over your murder
So
attempts, while
yeah,
you
to start off
watched
with,
as
he
spectator of the
killed
game.
Mayumi
When the disappeared stopped dying, you sent a warning letter to its
Sorry,
more
fuck.
victims.
He killed Mayumi Yamano,
Even
and he
when
also
copycat
killed
killer arose, you had the
some
gall
girl's
as a
name,
detective
Saki
to
Kanishi, there you
eliminate
go.
a suspect
Saki
under
Kanishi,
investigation.
and got Namatame to
Died in the last 6 months, and a young girl
believe
is
that he
now
was
in critical
saving
condition. But that's
people
not
by
all.
putting them into the
If
TV,
at any turn something had gone wrong,
namely the
many
group
more
that
would
we're
have
in
succumbed.
now, and
All for some foolish excitement, like
we
a
all could have
criminal
died.
reveling in the chaos he created.
And he's doing it all just to get some excitement.
Yeah?
The
So
asshole.
what's your point? All I did was put people in.
I love that reaction from
It's the
Adachi.
world that really kills
Just
us.
like, I don't.
This world
That's pretty much.
reflects people's thoughts.
I don't give a shit.
Which,
What the
oh
fuck?
dear.
I don't care.
Does
I
that
just
mean
want
the
to.
real culprits are
Just
everyone
want
on
some.
the
I just
outside,
want some excitement.
including you?
Fuck the rest of you. That's what he's basically saying there.
You did that stuff knowing full well those people
Yosuke's
were
actor here does go a bit overboard with the whole
and what is?
shouting. There's a bit too much shouting,
Righteous.
a bit too much emotion brought out here in Yosuke's performance in this part of the game. I think it's a bit much.
Don't make me laugh. Just because someone joins the police doesn't make them some kind of agent of justice. You know why I applied? So I could legally
Yes,
carry a
it
gun.
does. You're supposed to uphold the law, you stupid asshole.
I thought it would be fun too, but to tell the truth,
Yeah,
it's a
Jesus
wash.
Christ, I don't like that line.
Everyone around me was such an idiot.
It's just because you join the police force doesn't mean you're an agent of justice. Yes, it means exactly that. You're paid to uphold the law, you stupid asshole.
For crying out
So yeah, he gets his power.
bastard like you.
A gift for having to put up with this.
Yeah, that's a good question. Kanji, actually, to be fair. I don't think... Is it ever explained? I don't think it's ever explained how he gets his powers. Because it's kind of explained how, eventually, how we get ours. But I don't think it's ever explained how Namatame and Adachi get theirs. At least I don't remember there being an explanation behind that.
That's the way things are. They're just stuck with it because they can't deny it either. Those who actually succeed in life, they just happen to be born with a magic ticket called talent. If you don't have
Oh
it, you can
God,
be
he's one of
sent to
these
deny
assholes.
that fact until you die. That's your own choice.
Yeah,
Once you
this is
realize
where
that,
I think
all
Adachi
you
gets a
have left in
little
life
bit
is
of
despair.
a...
The ultimate game over. Wouldn't it
He
be
starts
better
off
if
as
that
kind of
reality
like
was wiped away?
an interesting kind of villain, I think.
Brats like you are
And
so
then
damn
in this
naive.
part, it's just like, oh, Jesus Christ, you're just one of those whining little bitches
But that's only
that
because you know nothing about
that
reality.
is, you know,
One day you'll see. You'll be faced with the boring reality
he's
of
complaining about not getting where he wanted to get in life,
You're the only
even
boring
though
thing
he
here.
claims he worked hard
If
for
you
it.
wanna
It's, ugh.
disappear, go ahead.
I don't like that.
Stop dragging us
I don't like
down.
that part of him, but
Stop
yeah,
worrying,
fucking
Punk.
hell.
I
This part of
understand
the
you're all afraid and got
he's
everything
just
tucked away.
yeah, he becomes a bit of an annoying
I'm
asshole
telling
here.
you all this based
I'll
on my
say
own
that.
experience in life. Think about it for a second.
You miserable
Once
twat.
everyone turns into shadows, they'll still keep on living, oblivious to all the things around them. So how's that different
That
from the way
doesn't
it
sound
is
very
now?
nice. That sounds absolutely horrifying,
It's
actually,
much
to be honest
easier
with you.
for everyone.
Easier.
In
What the hell are you
in one
talking
way,
about?
I guess. I guess he's right in one
How
way,
many people out there actually
without
think
people
about
having
what's
to.
real, what's right and wrong? Next to none, I bet. It's
Yeah, he kind of
useless to
explains
think
it
about
here, you
those
know.
things in the first place. You don't
It's
get
kind of
it
like
without
that thing, I
facing
guess,
reality.
between
And there's no way to change
free
it.
will and
I mean, what could
kind
be more
of-
boring than brooding over things you
what's the
can't
word I'm looking
change?
for here? It's kind of
It's better
like
to just ignore
the
them
like
and believe only
free
what you
will
wanna
versus
believe in life. Doesn't that sound
like a
a
more
lot easier?
oppressive
It
regime,
would
I
be
guess.
awesome if
It's kind of
everyone's
like
life could be that
the
easy.
argument can be made that, you
No
know, you
matter
have
who
to
you
have
are,
free speech and, you know, free will to be able to do what you want and make your own mistakes. Whereas the argument can also be made, I guess, that oppressive regimes, you know, they can stop crimes from happening as frequently. They can stop, you know, stuff like. They can also make it so that there are less issues for you to sort out yourself. Basically, if that makes any sense. That smile, that's the smile of a sick bastard. Oh my god, he's going Super Saiyan God. That stance is a bit weird. Yeah, and this is kind of a little bit different as compared to a lot of the other shadows that happen. Whereas, you know, the shadows kind of the shadows are like a separate entity for the rest of the others, I think. And here he's kind of like they are almost one in this thing.
If you give in and sever your ties to human society, it will naturally become hard to live in it. Yet you refuse to
And here's some
face
interesting
life and
points.
admit your fault, running from your own humanity like a coward.
Yep. Basically, he blames everybody else except his fuck himself. Ah, you're an idiot. This is the, you know, it's the one element of the character which I don't like.
Shut up! Stop trying to act all tough. You guys can't even stand on your own unless you deny everything I said. Stupid teenagers! You have no idea what kind of shit I've been through. By the world my ass. I'm gonna say it flat out. You're just a
Go for it, Yosuke.
criminal.
Oh god, he's going inside.
Here he comes. This'll probably
Here we
be our
go,
last
it's
battle.
time for the
Consider
final
everything we've
battle.
done.
Risa, you have no idea, love. But yeah, it's time for the final boss battle against Adachi. And he has
The world
a gun.
is about to change.
He uses a gun for his physical attacks. But what's different with him, along with most of the others, what's different from most of the others, between him as compared to most of the others, is the fact that how he does his magical attacks. The fact that he uses what seems like a persona instead of.
That bastard! We
He uses something akin to a persona, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, he's using Matsuo down here. Maximum power. Oh wow, I did a pitiful amount of damage. So, yeah, I should... Oh, that's a bit better. Thank you, Yosuke. Okay, yeah, I use God's Hand. God's Hand is a really good physical attack. It really does some good damage. Most of the time. Oh well. And Ajidan is very useful. Yeah, it's good 302. So here we go. Yep. And the cool thing is it's kind of like a dark version of our original Persona, which is kind of nice foreshadowing, I guess. So anyway, the attacks that Adachi has in this form. Yes, there are multiple forms. He has the Heat Riser, which increases his attack, his defense, and hit evasion rate. Vorpal Blade, which is a physical attack which does a lot of damage to the entire party. He's got Madoon, which is darkness. Basically a normal darkness attack to one party member. He's got the Evil Smile, which inflicts fear to the entire party. Matsudain, which deals heavy electric damage. Dekaja, which removes all the stat bonuses from him. And finally, he has Magyudan, which is heavy wind damage or Magarudan, there you go, which does heavy wind damage to the entire party. Basically, I don't really have much of a... What's the word I'm looking for? I don't really have much of a strategy here. I think it's just pretty much try and hit him with all the attacks that you can. If you want to try and you know, what I should have done here is remove the status buffs. You know, because he's got his evasion up, so I should have really used something to get rid of his status buff. So that's the only thing I would say. The other thing is when you because one of his attacks, which is the evil smile, inflicts fear on the entire party. If he ever uses that, just best thing to do is to just use like a thing on the attack, you know, like a the item which removes fear from the you know, the entire party. I think there is a Yukiko learns a move which basically removes all negative, like removes all debuffs from the party. So yeah, I would suggest doing that, but otherwise sorry about that. Otherwise I would say just use your most powerful attacks that you've got and you'll cause a fair bit of damage. In this form he doesn't really have anything which is going to one-shot you, so it's no issue whatsoever. He also doesn't really have anything which is going to cause... Like, his attacks will cause a decent amount of damage, but if you got to this point in the game, then the majority of the moves that he has, you've already dealt with tons of times before, and you'll be able to deal with it pretty easily. That was me not concentrating. Yeah, I was lucky here. He used the Vorpal Blade a lot, and Magarudyne a lot, which, you know, I could easily deal with pretty comfortably, really. And he's almost done. I reckon one more Garudyne and we're done with Adachi. And there we go. He does use a physical attack occasionally, but it doesn't really cause all that much any damage, really. Risa is now at level 75, and so is Chie and Yosuke. Very, very fortunate.
Damn, this is lame.
That's such a poor thing to say. Why he's been swearing at all this point? Why would he use the word lame there?
Anyways, everyone's gonna become shadows.
Alright, that animation there was a bit poor. But that animation there actually is pretty fucking creepy. I love how his voice changes here. I think the voice here is really fucking cool, really well done. The portrait is a bit weird, but whatever. So yeah, this is finally the thing that was inside Adachi the whole time, and giving him the abilities that he's been using to cause such pain. Because his aim was basically to do what he's saying here, to cover both worlds in fog and to, you know, control both worlds. So yeah, this is Amino Sagiri. You might remember that the character that we fought in the previous boss battle, where we had where it was Namatame, we faced off against Kunino Sagiri. This is Amino, and they are basically is it 2/3? I guess no, it's they are basically half of the boss characters who we are going to be godlike, you know, god boss characters that we are going to be facing throughout the course of the game. So yes, we still got 2 more to go.
So they tore down the wall between image and reality. Indeed, this is the outcome desired by mankind. And mankind.
So yeah, he's basically coming up with all this bullshit that basically mankind. He's basically basically what he's saying here is that mankind's desires are his desires. So he basically serves mankind, and that basically mankind becomes too evil. Not evil, that's probably the wrong word. When they become too filled with hatred and anger and vengeance and all those, negative emotions that happens with them, he comes down to kind of deal his wrathful kind of vengeance, upon them. He's basically, it's your bog standard religious God-fearing bullshit that when humans fuck up the world too much, God comes down to basically sort out that shit. And it's a similar thing, basically the same thing here, the same idea. Yeah, the idea is that as all this negative emotion builds up, he becomes stronger, and his fog becomes stronger. And this is the first mention of the Hollow Forest. That is going to come into play pretty soon, actually, not that long after this dungeon. Yeah, spoilers, the Hollow Forest is pretty much the next dungeon we'll be going to after this one. It's actually a bonus dungeon that you... it's an optional dungeon which you don't have to do. But if you want the best ending, you have to do it. So you do have to do it, but not really.
Then the Midnight Channel, was that phenomenon also your doing?
Do we finally get an explanation?
Things as they truly are. They choose to see only what they wish. I acted only in support of this. A world filled with desires.
Which means that he wasn't the one who created the Midnight Channel. But he did help in its he did help in making the Midnight Channel more use. He was involved in making the Midnight Channel more visible to people, basically. He helped to maintain it, I think, is basically how it can be put.
What we saw there wasn't Namatame's true intentions at all.
And here is the thing where Namatame was trying to think the reason why Namatame's face came on that screen when we had the option to kill him or not, is basically because that was what they all wanted. They all wanted to believe that he was the killer, and they wanted a reason to basically finish him off. And so yeah, it's kind of dark. Well, it's incredibly dark.
Yeah, I don't know who you are, but you're going down.
And so, yes, now comes the time. He's the one who's in charge of all this shit, so we're gonna have to beat his ass.
Yes, that I did not foresee. The ability to master.
So yeah, this guy, he foresaw a lot of stuff, but what he didn't see was these people, these kids being able to manipulate their own, being able to control their own personas with help from their friends, I guess. So he did not foresee that. And now we get an anime cutscene, and judging from the length of time on my video, I don't think we're going to start the... we're definitely not going to start it. So yeah, we won't be starting the final boss battle today, but we will be... But next time we... So anyway, I should just finish off. So, join me next time for the next part of Persona 4 Golden, when we will be taking on Amino Sagiri and finally defeating the guy who's been... Maybe not the ultimate boss, but the guy who's in charge of the other world and this fog. And this is such a... just before I go, this is such a fucking awesome design. I love this design so much, it looks so badass. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time for the next part of Persona 4 Golden. See you next time.
I'll back you up with every